updated for 2025. We have a fresh updated presentation on the APA 7th edition. They may be coming out with an 8th edition soon, but I wanted to make sure that there's a fresh video going over this this particular presentation on why do citations matter. So the outline for this presentation: why cite? What problems did the APA solve? What does a literature review mean? In-text citations, why do they matter? What issues do you need to look for on formatting your references page in a general overview of references? Citations protect you from plagiarism lawsuits or expulsion, because you can get expelled from college for plagiarizing. They prove you have done the scholarly research that informs your paper. Citations give credit where credit is due. They show you have not pulled ideas out of your backside. There is real research that backs up what you're saying. If you do not cite correctly, you are saying that you did all of that research, all of that work that you're talking about all by yourself. The American Psychiatric Association, known as the APA, needed to come up with a standardized format for articles in their Journal of the American Psychiatric Association. The first edition established the standardized way of formatting references. It ensured that researchers, authors, and subject matter experts were properly credited. This also expanded knowledge bases. You can now follow researchers and authors elsewhere. A literature review. This is a phrase that is frequently misused. A literature review is a specifically kind of formatted essay. It follows a predictable and standardized layout. A lot of people use that term when what they really mean is a review of the literature. That means an analysis of all of the journal articles, published research, newspaper articles, etc., that you have selected to talk about in your paper. The phrase "the literature says" refers to the entirety of all journal articles and research that has been published on a specific topic. Make sure you're using the right phrase. In-text citations document the facts you have included in your paper from the literature that you have reviewed to support your topic. As of the APA 7th edition, which was last updated in November of 2023, they have several ways that they can look. A basic in-text citation is the name of the author and the year in parentheses. It looks like this that you see here at the bottom. Other in-text citations. If the next fact that you cite is also from the same source, you prove that with a Latin word that means from the same place. That is ibid. In-text citations of a personal conversation currently look like this. You need to have the word personal conversation in italics. When you are writing a literature review or a research essay, you are presenting facts from one source only for your summary and analysis section. Those facts are cited by page number only after you do the initial citation. So instead of saying ibid, as you continue to talk about them in the summary and the analysis, they look like this for these two kinds of essays. Formatting your references page. Your in-text citations must be reflected on your references page. Your references page must have an in-text citation. They are each reference has two parts. So you must have it in both places. Anything you have listed on your references page has to have a matching in-text citation. Any in-text citation must have a matching full citation on your references page. So as of November 2023, what do proper APA 7th reference, what does a proper APA 7th reference look like? Books are the simplest to format. They can be physical or digital books that you own, rent, or have checked out of the library. If it's a Kindle version, there's an additional thing that you have to write. So here is an example of a physical copy of a book. You do not put the location of the publisher anymore. You only use the first initial, not the full name. If it is a Kindle edition, then you put that in brackets after the title and before the publisher. Website citations can get a little complicated. This includes journals that are published online. I am not going to pause here on how to do a couple of them. I'm going to do a completely separate presentation on how to write those. Blog, video, and Kindle edition must have that stated in brackets like this after the title. We're not going to look at those right now either. Citing personal conversations. On your references page, you need to add who is the person and any credentials they have that shows the reader why their knowledge is related to your paper. Why should they pay attention to what your auntie said? Well, if your auntie is a certified public accountant and she has more than once, or it could just be once, if she has given you guidance on budgets, finance, economics, and you're talking about that in your paper, then you need to say who she is and what her credentials are. I am not going to look at examples of this right now, but there is a specific way of citing staff writers or unknown authors. I'm going to do an entirely extra presentation just on these issues. So to recap on references, you are ensuring you have given credit where credit is due. You are ensuring you have done your homework and found robust scholarly sources from verified academic websites and publications. This ensures you don't get expelled or charged with plagiarism, something that can follow you for your entire career. I have a completely separate video and presentation on that done already. It also helps you hone your research skills as a writer. It is like doing beadwork. The more that you do it, the better your tension gets, the better your beads lay flat against each other. If you're a knitter, the more that you do it, the better your tension gets. So it's the same thing with writing. Writing your references page is the most time-consuming part of writing any essay. when I do the recording on what do these other references look like, I'm also going to include why my bib frequently writes references wrong and what do you need to look at to correct those. You need to remember your references page has to be alphabetized by author's last name, just like you are filing books in the library. If you have mistakes on your references page, that is a formatting error. And formatting errors there or elsewhere in your paper usually comprise one whole letter grade. So some professors, even one incorrect citation can suggest possible plagiarism. Accuracy matters. I had a professor in summer of 2024. I had 5 extremely minor formatting errors. There were a couple places where I had left a comma out. I mean, very, very minor ones, right? He took 2 letter grades off. Do you do beadwork or do you make regalia? You would not want someone at a powwow taking pictures of your beadwork and then selling the pattern without crediting you. If you are Native American, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You have seen that happen for decades. Citing references is the same as not allowing random people to take photos of your beadwork and then sell the pattern. Citations prove you got it right. Did the literature get a fact wrong? You can prove that with proper citations. You wouldn't go dance on the powwow grounds with a sleeve of your regalia missing, or your pants, or your skirt. Correctly formatted references is the same as ensuring your regalia has all the correct pieces before you submit in your dance, which is your final paper. I also want to mention that your beadwork is your intellectual property. There is an entire section of law on intellectual property rights. The patterns you come up with for your beadwork are your intellectual property. The things that you write, even for a college class, are your intellectual property. The things that I have had published are my intellectual property. You do not want to plagiarize someone's work. This is why it is a big fat deal to get your citations correct and ensure that you do not have a plagiarism accusation leveled at you, because it might be followed by an intellectual property violation case in court. That is all for this presentation. Wado, thank you for being here. I appreciate you.